Last week we read about how the tensions were beginning to grow between the American colonists and Britain. And last night you read about three different types of colonists. You read about Loyalists, Patriots, and Neutralists. Loyalists were the colonists who were against independence and wanted to stay loyal to Britain. They wanted to continue to follow under the king's rule. The Patriots were colonists who were for independence and wanted to break free from Britain. They were tired of all the taxation without representation and all the acts that they were having to follow. And then you had the Neutralists, and the Neutralists were colonists who didn't take sides for or against Britain. They didn't side either way. Tonight for homework, you're going to be reading about 3 Loyalists and 3 Patriots and finding out information about those Loyalists and Patriots. Things you'll be looking for as you're reading are you're going to be writing down their name, and in this box here, you will be cutting out and gluing their picture in. You're going to be looking for their occupation, which is their job. What actions did they take, either in support of Britain or against Britain? And then what were their arguments either for or against independence? So those are the 4 things that you're going to be looking for as you read through each section. Now if you'll pause the video, I'd like you to turn to page 115 in your textbook, your History Live book, and together we're going to read about the first Loyalist, Thomas Hutchinson, and we're going to take the notes together so you can see what we're looking for. So go ahead and pause the video and turn to page 115. Okay, so again, be looking for those 4 things that are listed on your reading notes, and follow along as I read section 11.3, Thomas Hutchinson, a Loyalist Governor, out loud. Thomas Hutchinson was a Loyalist who lived in Massachusetts. He was a dedicated official who was named Royal Governor of Massachusetts in 1771. Over time, Hutchinson became one of the most hated men in the colonies because he always sided with the British against the Patriots. Hutchinson was a thin, serious man who rarely smiled. He didn't like to show much feeling. Even though he was a successful businessman, he didn't wear fancy clothes. Instead, he liked to wear a simple black coat and hat. As an official serving the king, Hutchinson believed firmly in enforcing British laws such as the Stamp Act and the law that closed Boston Harbor for a time. Patriots were so angry about the Stamp Act that one night an angry mob burst into Hutchinson's house. The mob stole money and broke furniture. They also destroyed his prized collection of books. From then on, Hutchinson was a bitter enemy of the Patriots. As a Loyalist, Hutchinson argued against independence for several reasons. He said that the colonies needed Britain to help protect them against other countries. He argued that the colonists could not govern themselves without Britain to guide them. And he said that the king knew what was best for the colonists because he was wiser and more experienced. In 1773, Patriots embarrassed Hutchinson by printing some letters that he had written to the British government. The letters said that Britain should be even more strict with the colonists. When colonists read the letters in the newspaper, nearly everyone turned against him. Okay, now we need to be sure that we read our text features, so we covered our heading for this section, but we also need to read the caption for the picture. Thomas Hutchinson was a Loyalist. As a governor of Massachusetts, he enforced British laws that were unpopular among the American colonists. And don't forget, it's important to read those captions because some of your answers might come in those captions and those headings, those text features. Okay, now if you'll turn to your reading notes to the Loyalist side where it says Loyalist at the top, and you are going to fill in Thomas Hutchinson's name. And in a moment, you'll see the picture, too, that you'll be cutting out and putting in the square that they provide for you. Okay, occupation. Again, his occupation is his job. So we can find this in actually one of 3 places. If you look at the heading for that section, in the first paragraph, it says he was a dedicated official who was named Royal Governor of Massachusetts in 1771. And also in the caption it says, as Governor of Massachusetts. So for occupation, you need to write down Governor of Massachusetts. Okay, so the next part is action taken. This is what action did Thomas Hutchinson take in helping the British. Since he was a loyalist, he was for Britain. So if you go back and reread paragraph 3 and reread the caption, pause the video and take a moment to do that. Okay, at the beginning of paragraph 3, it says that Hutchinson believed firmly in enforcing British laws such as the Stamp Act and the law that closed the Boston Harbor for a time. In the caption for the picture, it also says that he enforced British laws that were unpopular among the American colonists. So the action that he took was enforcing those British laws. So on your notes, write down enforced British laws like the Stamp Act. Okay, so our last section for Thomas Hutchinson is we need to find what were his arguments against independence. Why did he not want to become independent from Britain? So if you will pause the video and reread paragraph 4 and then list the reasons he had against independence. Okay, as you can see in paragraph 4, it lists several reasons for against independence. Okay, so the 3 reasons that he gives in paragraph 4 are: the King of England knew what was best for colonists because he had experience and was wise. He felt that the colonies needed Britain to protect them, and he didn't feel like the colonists could govern themselves, that they needed help from Britain with the governing part. So those are 3 reasons or 3 arguments that Thomas Hutchinson had against independence. Okay, now it's your turn to read the rest of the chapter. You're going to read about the 2 remaining Loyalists, Jonathan Boucher and Lord Dunmore, and then the 3 Patriots, Benjamin Franklin, Mercy Otis Warren, and Samuel Adams. And with all of these remaining 5 historical figures, you're going to be looking for their name, their occupation or job, what actions they took, and what their arguments either for or against independence were. So good luck. Read through the rest of the chapter carefully and bring your notes filled out, ready for discussion in class tomorrow.